NBA draft is just around the corner. NBA free agency is right after that. Trade rumors are here, there, and everywhere. Let's start with the Portland Trail Blazers. This involves Damian Lillard, their superstar guard, who's been by himself. Team has not been very good for a group of years. Portland's got the 3rd pick in the draft. He says, I want you to use that pick to go get veteran players to put around us. They just don't have a lot of depth there. And the alternative is, if you can't do that, then you should trade me somewhere else. So Lillard, who's a great player, has been a really good citizen in Portland. His name is out there based on what he's demanded they do with the 3rd pick, or based on the fact, I don't want to be here if you can't fix everything around me. A lot of rumors out there as to where he might go. Fix the team, or otherwise you lose me. Second one, Phoenix Suns, new owner. It sure looks like there's going to be an eruption there in the Valley of the Sun. New owner comes in. They fire the coach instantly after they got beat out of the playoffs. Monty Williams had done a good job. He's gone. Chris Paul will not be there. He will either be traded or he will be released. They'll take a cap hit there. And out of nowhere comes a story this past week. DeAndre Ayton, the starting center, is being shopped. It's interesting. You might be able to link the logo on the right side with the logo on the left side, because the Suns evidently are talking to Portland. You give us the 3rd pick and a player, and we'll give you DeAndre Ayton. That's kind of interesting. 3rd pick is a hot shot 18, 19-year-old guard, Scooty Henderson. So there might be smoke and fire there. Chris Paul, Clippers are interested. Chris Paul, Lakers are interested. All of a sudden, Chris Paul, Boston's interested. So whether they just let him walk or whether they try to use him as get another bargaining chip back, that remains to be seen. Golden State, I find this one really hard to believe because they've got the vested veterans, they've had all that success, the rings, the trophies, etc. And they've drafted a bunch of guys who are trying to bring along. They already traded one of them away, Jonathan Wiseman, the big center out of Memphis. He went to Detroit. He just never grew, but he had a lot of injury problems. They got Jordan Poole. His name is out there. They might be shopping him. They may have changed their mind about him because he absolutely disappeared during the course of the playoffs. And the Warriors are also involved in now a possible deal for Jonathan Kuminga. He's a 19-year-old that they drafted. He played a year in the G League, and he's had spurts. So I'd be stunned if they move him. But all of a sudden, all these rumors are flying there. Miami just completed a really great basketball season. Now, they don't have enough. They need more bullets. They got 4 guards. I think they're going to trade 2 of the guards. Now, they're not going to trade Jimmy Butler. Sit down. He's not going to Golden State, John. But they've got Tyler Hero, who they really like. They got the old dog who had just a great championship series in Dwight Lowry. They've got this young kid who just came out of nowhere shooting the ball and played really well. And I think he's might be part Dunk Robinson. There's talk that they have real interest going to Milwaukee to try to get Chris Middleton. They'd have to give up maybe 2 of the young guards to get the veteran guard, but they need more firepower and they want a little bit more veteran experience. So somebody's going to leave Miami. In Toronto, this is all a byproduct of guys who are going to opt out of contracts. They're going to force the Raptors' hand, sign and trade. They're talking about dealing Pascal Siakam, who's played very well, didn't have a good season last year. Fred VanVleet, self-made guard. He's already opted out. He could go somewhere in a sign and trades. So keep an ear on that. And the latest one had just developed. Washington Wizards, who've been losing for years. Brad Beal asked to be traded. And Washington, which now has a new regime in there, new general manager who'd come from the Clippers, Washington is evidently putting him on the block, and they're going to shop him, and he's a really fine player. I didn't mention the Lakers because we kind of covered that ground as it relates love me not, LeBron James. Didn't mention Dallas because there's a lot of moving parts there, and I don't know what's fact or fiction at this point. But those are the latest trade rumors going towards the draft. I do think you're going to see a bunch of dominoes fall.
Yeah, these are interesting names here on the board and interesting teams. I mean, I think about the Raptors, and if Fred VanVleet is dealt, which, if he wants to leave, go get traded or be a free agent, that opens up an opportunity for Malachi Flynn.
Sure.
And I think that kid, man, he was so good here at San Diego State, and he's shown glimpses of it in the NBA. So I'm just hoping he gets a chance. But yeah, Washington, that franchise has been in the tank for decades now. I mean, they were great when they were the Bullets with Wes Unseld, but I mean, have they done anything in the last 20 or 30 years?
Well, they'd stockpiled a whole bunch of players and they all got hurt. That's just a big issue.
Mhm.
And they've run a lot of guys through there that thought this guy would be a missing piece. They made the trade for Kyle Kuzma, that multiplayer deal with the Lakers that, involved the Russell Westbrook transaction. And he came in and he's played pretty well. And now he's going to be a free agent. They want to re-sign him, but they just don't have strength in numbers, and they just keep going through players. And this guy might help us and make us different, and it doesn't work, or a guy gets hurt, or the guy has a bad season. They keep firing coaches. So Brad Beal is the last of the guys standing that was supposed to be the group that was going to lead them to really great things. So I think they're going to be fireworks as we head towards the draft with some of these players, and then obviously we got free agency that kind of kicks in right after that.
Yeah. I mean, I think the proven formula is you have 2 or 3 big time superstars and you fill in the gaps with role players and young kids. And what does Portland have besides Lillard? I mean, they're getting DeAndre Ayton is an interesting guy because he'd be a number 5. He played down there, down low by the block. But I'm not as intimate with the Portland roster, what their needs are. Probably just need anybody.
Well, they had a good running mate in C.J. McCollum, and they traded him to New Orleans, which to me was kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
But they just have never had bigs. They've never had start players. They kept making transactions and trying to find something to fit with Lillard. He's a good player, and he's a really good citizen, but he's on the clock. He's tired of losing. Okay, from basketball.